Hey, what's happening? Welcome to the Pleasure Points Podcast. I'm your host, James Rohr. You can follow me on TikTok at The Tongue Guy. It's a solo episode today. It's a throwback episode. We're talking about the lifespan of sponges, what to do with that voice that tells you need to keep improving. And speaking of improvements, what happens when I try my hand at doing some home renovations? So, without further ado, thank you for being here and enjoy the show. Yeah, we're here. It's like old school style, like how we used to do on the podcast. Just me today. Jen is busy getting ready for our big trip out to Salt Lake City for doTERRA's annual convention. So here we are, you and me. I just finished a run, having some coffee. What are you doing today? How's your day going so far? Hope you're doing great. Did you get any exercise in? You making any diet changes? You living your best life? Or are you just eking by? It's okay, wherever you're at. Let's have a moment of love and joy and honoring you right now, as you are. Oh, that's so nice. How many times did you think that you need to do something different in those last 30 seconds? Did you have that voice that came up and said you need to be different, better? You need to solve a problem that somehow just eking by is not enough? Oh, damn. That self-improvement voice is so strong. It's amazing when I tune in and check it and how often that voice tends to pop up. It's crazy. It shows up in all the places. There's like the big stuff when it comes to like work and income and house and all that. And then it's like little things like, oh, I shouldn't have left almond butter on the sponge. Or Jen hates that, by the way. That's like probably one of her biggest pet peeves, other than just me being me. It's when I leave almond butter on the sponge, you wipe off the thing and then there's like that residue that's left. It's pretty gross, I admit. And I don't do it all the time. I've gotten much better with it. But it's amazing how almond butter just like accelerates it shortens the lifespan of a sponge. It's like construction equipment, cleaning off like tools and stuff. And then almond butter will just kill a sponge right away. So yeah, there's like that voice. It's all the time. It's just saying, well, you should do things differently. That's not okay. You got to be different. So let's honor that voice. Let's let that voice just sort of be there today. And yeah, it's cool. Like we can have that voice, and then also we can just get on and like be content and and still bring a good mood. Oh man, I've been working with this group for the last year or so, where we're going over some old teachings and things, and that's one of the points that's really been driven home for me in this process of like really cultivating internal awareness and trying to change perspectives to not be too locked in on any particular point of view, is how often my brain will point out that like I could do things better, or I should be better, or I should do more. I think it's the backbone of every overachiever. Like I don't know how you can achieve a lot without some version of that voice. I suppose maybe as you get older with wisdom and maturity, there's a way to harness that where you can just create for creation's sake. But I would say that certainly when I was growing up, and definitely when I was at Stanford for college, you just see seems like everybody is pretty much plagued by that same thing of this core feeling of like not being enough unless you're winning or achieving. Yeah, sports is the same way, right? You give someone a chip on their shoulder and then that's all the motivation they need. So keeping that motivation high without the like self abuse and flagellation of, nitpicking and tearing ourselves apart for every little thing, seems to be part of the dance, part of the balance, things to look for. So let's honor that. I love this idea of just like calling it out, of pointing out, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm observing. So when you hear that voice, or when you've identified with that voice and you've bought into that bullshit story that says that, you need, in order for you to be enough, you have to do more. When you've bought into that, you can just see that and be like, oh, wow, I just totally fell for that again. Hook, line, and sinker. Damn. All right, cool. Well, now what do I want to get back to? And the thing that I've come back to, when I'm really present is just, okay, What do I need to do now? How can I bring a good mood? I want to, I'm committed to bringing a good mood, a good vibe, and let's start there, right? Um, and so that's like a nice just sort of correction. Instead of telling yourself that voice is wrong and bad and terrible, because that's part of what the brain wants to do, to just like that, or the personality or whatever, to keep you in conflict. This is a really nice way to get out of that and just be like, oh, I see you. It's like a kid having a temper tantrum where you're just like, oh, you're freaking out right now. Or when someone's hungry and you're just like, hey, you're hungry. You're freaking out right now, but have a Snickers bar, as the commercials go. Have a Snickers bar, have a little something to eat, and then let's see what happens. Do you guys like Snickers bars? I haven't had one of those in so long. Well, I used to eat them frozen, and that was delicious. Those are so good. Do they even still make them? Have they changed their formulas? We had, why was at some birthday party, and there was like a piñata, and he was talking about all the different candies, and he doesn't really like candy because we don't really have it around. But I was wondering, have the like formulas changed? Is there more sugar, or is it sweeter now because of all the high fructose corn syrup and stuff? Or is it the same as it was when we were kids and my taste buds have totally changed? Because I remember when I was in high school, I was having my wisdom teeth taken out, and I used to drink, we would have some Pepsi, but I used to drink a lot of Sprite. I love Sprite. And, they have vending machines in the school. So it was like so easy to have one, like every day, at least one. And then I was getting my wisdom teeth taken out, and somebody suggested that I take Arnica, which is a homeopathic. And they said, well, if you're taking Arnica or any kind of homeopathic, you don't want to have any caffeine. And so I got rid of all sodas. I was just like, I'm not going to drink them anymore. And that was probably the greatest gift of that whole experience, was because I stopped drinking it. And then when I went back and I had a root beer or something, and it tasted so gross to me. It was disgusting. It was so sweet, and it was nasty. And my brother, my older brother, he'll drink. For a while, he would drink like an entire 6-pack of Coke a day, or he would go through like a 2-liter. He would drink a lot of sodas. I don't know if he still might. I don't know if he's still doing that or not. But it's amazing how we just, habituate to certain things, and then we adapt. And the power of our body to be adaptable is amazing, except when we just start to adapt to accepting things that are really not good for us. Well, not good. It depends on what your aim is. If your aim is to feel good and to live well, then it's probably not good to, be eating and drinking all that stuff. And, here, looking around where we live in outside of Chicago and Indiana, in Northwest Indiana, it's like, you look around and you just see so much obesity and people that are overweight, and so much of it just comes down to food. And, it's like people are eating whatever's around, and they, we're like sort of quote unquote victims of the food engineering. And it's really hard. Like, how do you stand a chance against like super smart lab scientists that have figured out exactly what activates your taste buds, exactly what will trigger all those amazing parts in your brain that want you craving more? It's like when they say you can't eat just one, it's because they've proven it. They've created it so that it's exactly that way. So breaking that cycle is challenging. And, the infrastructure of our society just seems to really be built to keep people hooked into the system and sick. One of my gripes during all the COVID stuff was that it was just obvious to anyone who pays attention to health. It was obvious that all the things that the government was doing had nothing to do with health. Because if it was really about health, they wouldn't have closed the beaches. They wouldn't, they would have told everyone to get outside, get your vitamin D. And if they really cared, especially about, helping inner city and really urban populations, they would have figured out how to, make vegetables cheaper. They would have subsidized vegetables. They would have made it easier to get people, access to really healthy food, to eliminate food deserts. That's going to do a lot more than some of these other nonsense measures, like just locking yourself inside with a house full of junk food isn't exactly going to be moving the needle towards health. So we're all in this battle together, and I don't know. We've gotten a preview for what doTERRA is going to be releasing, and it's pretty exciting. They're releasing a new product well, a bunch of new products every year at the convention, but this year they're releasing an entire new product line that's designed to be anti-aging, and it's going to be activating. It's got a lot of NMN, which is a nucleotide that is a precursor to something called NAD plus, and NAD plus is what they're finding is it helps to repair the DNA. So the way it was explained to me, and I'm going to learn a lot more, but the way it was explained to me is that as we age, the DNA is like you can think of your DNA as a CD player, and as we age with unhealthy lifestyle choices, there are things that attach to the DNA. So you can think about that like a scratch on a CD player. And so then every time that DNA is trying to be copied, if there's scratches on it, it's not going to be a great copy. And then this is basically on a kind of a cellular level what's happening with aging. And so this is how you can have someone who lives to be 80, but they stopped having a great quality of life after 50, because like the DNA and what's being copied over and over again is not very good. And so just because we can keep them alive doesn't mean that they're living really, really well. That's a difference that they call the difference between lifespan, which is how long you live, and health span, which is how long you're really healthy, which health span is really the most important marker, because, if you live to be 95, but you haven't, been able to move on your own since you were 60, like those last 35 years have got to be tough. So, so what they're finding is these products help to, like clean up the scratches on the CD player to make the DNA replication healthier. And then when you get rid of those scratches, then you're on a DNA level, your body looks younger, like under a microscope, the DNA looks healthier, looks closer to what you'd see, when you were a lot younger. And so these products are designed to help, clean up the DNA basically. That's how I understand it right now. We'll learn a lot more in the next couple of weeks, but it's pretty exciting. So people have already been, they did like a beta test with about 200 or so people in the doTERRA community, and the testimonials so far are bonkers. People are losing weight on this product, but it's not designed to be a weight loss product. It's designed to make your cells healthier. And as doing so, then we see decrease of inflammation, and when your body's not as inflamed, it can shed some of that excess fluid and the excess weight, and everything just gets more streamlined. So the big things that we're hearing are weight loss, better energy, less brain fog, and people just generally feeling more like how they want to be feeling. So that's pretty awesome. That's pretty exciting stuff, kind of cutting edge when it comes to anti-aging. And I can't wait to get my hands on the product and check it out. I've lost some of the weight that I've put on over COVID and being here. Like, we were doing so well in the start of COVID, probably like a lot of people, like the first little bit of shutdown. We were just doing awesome. I was like doing this whole like handstand program and getting really, really strong. And then we had termites that infested our place in Miami. Dude, it was so gross. We used to work out on the patio, and we had Jen had those like cork yoga blocks, and so I was working out on the patio probably every day, and like it was great. And I noticed that there were some termites that started coming out of like the door jamb, which was, I was like, okay, this is not good. But when you're a renter, the level of intensity on that is like totally different, right? Which is like terrible now that I'm a homeowner. I understand. And then one day I went out to do my morning workout, and I flipped over the cork block, and the termites they had taken over and burrowed in and spread out all over both of the cork yoga blocks. It was so gross. It was like coming out of a horror movie. I'm so glad she was still asleep when all that happened. She would have flipped out. But that quickly killed our workout space. It killed the workout vibe. And we moved like about a month after that. I think we were just like, okay, let's get out of here. So we bought the van and we moved out to Colorado and got involved in all of that. And so building the van was awesome when we were out there, and it gave me just enough confidence to think that I can do more things. So now that we're homeowners here, I decided it was time to redo one of the bathrooms. Well, I didn't decide. Obviously, Jen decided that she wanted the bathroom, one of the bathrooms done. Like, when we got the house, it was cool because I believe we got this house because we met the owners. when we checked out the house, the owners were here and like they had all their stuff everywhere. They were older, this older couple, and yeah, I got good rapport with the husband, and Jen was connecting with the wife, and it was like I think he liked us. So all the people looked at the house, he liked us, so we got the house, which was great. But the problem is like when it was time for the inspection, he was also home, so I talked to him then, and then we talked a little bit at the closing, and I found out too much about the guy, and he was really sick, and I think he might have been diabetic because he was basically getting these wounds that weren't healing, and they'd get super infected, and then he was getting like IV antibiotics on like 5 days a week or something crazy. Long story short is like I knew too much about him, and that kind of sucked because now, like in the house sometimes, especially in the bedroom where they slept, it's like I could still kind of feel him around, and in particular like that the bathroom that's tied to the master bedroom, the master bath. He made it clear that was like the bathroom, really the only bathroom that they used. And so there's just so much energy there. And like so much so that we that's funny. I just said so much so. Why I was doing homeschool with Wyatt, and he was writing a story, and he had one of the characters say so much so. No, it wasn't even one of the characters. He was just writing it, and he was just like, and the character says, or he says, so much so. And I was like, Wyatt, nobody says that. It's like it was really awkward to read like so much so in like an expository paragraph. And so now anytime we hear it, he just points it out, and I just said it. So much so that when we moved in, we set up our bedroom in what would be the master bedroom, and we were here for maybe like 3 weeks, and it was just like, no, the energy's too weird. We got to get out of here. So we moved into what would be like the guest bedroom, and that's our bedroom now. And so it's been an interesting process of trying to like claim the house and clear it out energetically while also not like spending a small fortune on redoing everything. But it looks like that's really kind of the only way. It's like memories and stuff are stored in things. It's definitely maybe in the walls. So now that I'm in here, like I just ripped up the bathroom one day. I'd had enough, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna tear it apart. So that was interesting. My first time demolishing a bathroom, and just laid the tile floor. And it's been a whole process because each decision is, like hours on YouTube trying to figure out what's what. You're like, okay, I'm going to I'm going to put some tile floor down. And then it's like, all right, how do I do that? And then you become all of a sudden like in these wormholes of understanding subfloors, and then different thin sets, and different waterproof membranes, and different kinds of tile. And then, obviously like the tools. Do you guys know that there's like 10 different trowel sizes for grout and thin set, and each one makes like a huge difference in how everything can set? It's like banana pants. There's all of these different things. And then it's like, okay, cool. So now I'm getting ready to start doing it. And then you're like, okay, well, how do I lay tile around the toilet flange? And then what happens in the corners? And what about the transition from, the tile to the carpet or to the other room? And then how do you deal with the corners? And just like all of this stuff. And each one of those takes so long to try to understand. And it's amazing. It reminded me, like in doing the van build, you get in these wormholes, and people are as passionate, maybe even more passionate than politics, on some of these message boards and chats and comments about construction and handiwork. And, they just get so passionate, and it just makes your head spin. And it really just slows down the entire process. That's the power of just hiring somebody, or like being an apprentice to someone, which is really probably what I should have done if I was going to do all this stuff seriously. But it's amazing what's on YouTube. So we got the tile floor laid yesterday over 2 days. It's setting now. So we'll see if things are even. I think I may have made some mistakes. I know I made some mistakes. But at a quick look, it should be fine. But hopefully I don't like break a toe because one of the tiles is way too high. Are you guys home improvement people? What's like the most intense project that you've ever taken on? But it's pretty cool to become more handy. When we started the van build, I couldn't even hang anything straight, and now I feel a lot more competent to do all sorts of things. I had to fix the plumbing. It's like there's a lot of things that are involved in any of these projects, and I enjoy it. And also, it does. There's something that's great about just the tangible result. You're just like, oh, I did that. Like, oh, cool. Like, look, there it is. But it's so different than working on humans. Shocker. It's so different than working on humans where there's like that energetic interaction. I can get lost in a little bit of like the grain and wood and sanding and stuff. There's like a meditation to it, which is awesome. But it's not nearly as sort of fulfilling in some ways as working on people. And in other ways, it makes things a lot easier too. So whatever. It's great to have a diversity. Like some people that can just do the one thing forever I'm very impressed with. I remember when I moved to Florida for the first time from Chicago, it was, I was so excited because I was working for Canyon Ranch, and I was like, they had me on salary. I was like, this is great. I'm going to be just at Canyon Ranch. It's perfect. Because in Chicago, I was teaching. I had an office in Wrigleyville. I had an office in Glenview. I was doing a lot of things. I felt like I was spending a lot of time on the road. And after about 4 months of being at Canyon Ranch, I opened a little side practice, and then I started doing, some other things, some other networking things. And after about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, I finally just realized it's like, oh, this is just how I am. I like to have a lot of different things going on. I like to be able to go different places, and even if it's just a change of office scenery and you just get a different vibe, this like being in one place, one thing, doing the same thing over and over and over again, not so stimulating to me. And it's amazing how much more productive I am. And I think we as humans are like, when you have more stuff going on, it really forces us to be more like particular and precise with our time, rather than when you don't really have anything going on or everything is sort of the same all the time. It can just it's amazing how things can just kind of go by the wayside. But anyway, there you have it. So I hope you guys are feeling great and, doing great. I love hearing from you. My TikTok has totally been blowing up, which is crazy. So you can follow me there at The Tongue Guy. Would love to get your feedback. Those of you especially if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, check out those little TikTok videos, see what you like, and let me know what you think. And yeah, I think that's it. Great talking to you guys. Have an awesome week, and we'll check you next time. Bye.